Hey guys, so this is a little bit of an update from my vlogs that I did from when I was in Memphis. So I know that it's been a little while since I filmed those vlogs, so there probably is a huge time gap in between when those vlogs were up and when this video is being recorded. So I apologize if it's a little confusing, but I wanted to tell you guys about something that happened once I got home from Memphis. So for those of you who don't know, I went to Memphis, Tennessee. I live in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and I went to Memphis, Tennessee to complete A-Step training, the introductory course of A-Step training for my job working in the sleep center at the hospital I work at as a sleep tech. So with A-Step, I had to go, what I did was I completed a week of virtual training, and that was while I was working at the hospital. I kind of took a week and just did like Zoom calls with, I think it was actually Microsoft Teams, but we did a video chat and we went through all of these slides and did training, and that was virtual for a week. And then I had to do in-person training in Memphis, Tennessee for 2 days. So I flew out to Memphis. I had a room at the Marriott in Germantown, Tennessee. And from the time that I got to Germantown, I had a whole lot of issues with my hotel. First of all, I had contacted them. I had asked for an early check-in, like when I booked the room, because I knew what time my flight was getting in, and I just wanted to make sure that I had a place to go from the airport. So they never responded to my request initially. So I had messaged them while I was waiting for my connecting flight from Minneapolis to Memphis. And at that point, I then had to turn my phone off, so I didn't get any messages. Well, my plan was to, once I got to the Minneapolis airport, I was going to have something to eat and kind of kill some time before check-in, because I didn't want to show up to the hotel too early since I hadn't heard from them and I didn't know if they were going to let me check in early. I was hoping that they would have at least one room ready, so that I could check in and kind of rest and, find something to eat, or at least walk to the Walgreens that was right next to the hotel. So turns out they sent me messages and said that they had no rooms available and they were not allowing anyone to check in before check-in time, which was 3 p.m. So I actually got to the hotel at like noon. So I had a long time to wait because there was a snafu at the airport in Memphis. So I ended up having to call my Uber because I didn't want to just be sitting in the airport unable to eat anything, because I wanted to get my bag and then I was going to get something to eat. Well, the baggage claim was downstairs and I would have had to go through TSA again to be able to get some food at the airport. So that was a little bit frustrating, but they told me I could sit in the lobby and wait. Of course, they were doing construction in the hotel lobby, so it was really frustrating. It was giving me a headache, and finally I was finally able to get a room a couple hours later. But when I checked out, so I checked out at like 3 a.m. because my flight left Memphis at 6 a.m. And so I wanted to get to the airport fairly decently soon in the morning so that I could go through TSA, because I don't have pre-check or anything like that. So I have to go through the actual TSA line. And it was long when I got there at 3 a.m. And the TSA line didn't even open until 4, which thankfully they opened it at 3:30 because the line was literally out the door of the terminal. So anyways, when I got home, I got an email on my work email, which I can check from home. And I noticed that there was a receipt on there from Marriott. Well, before I left, the hotel room was booked by my boss. So my boss paid for the cost of the room because, it was either that or they would have had to reimburse me for everything. And so I chose to have him pay for the airline tickets as well as the hotel room. And then I chose to be reimbursed for like food and my Uber rides because that is a reimbursable charge from my employer. So I chose to do it that way. Well, Marriott had charged me again for my hotel room. And I had tried calling them and reaching out to them, and they were trying to claim that my card, like my payment card, was the only card that was ever associated with my room, which is totally untrue because we paid with my boss's MasterCard, like his corporate card. And so I have no idea, like, yes, I did use my card when I checked into the hotel for incidentals and things like that, because obviously I don't have my boss's corporate card with me and I wouldn't use it for incidentals anyway. But, you know, it's just frustrating that they charged me again. So anyways, I talked to the guy at the hotel, and he, like I said, was claiming that the card of mine was the only card associated. So he claimed that my boss needed to call with his number and talk to him in order for him to do anything. Well, my boss did that and they didn't change anything. So I ended up having to be reimbursed for the cost of the room as well, which I think is ridiculous because my boss had already paid for the room, so it made no sense. But anyways, I still have not gotten reimbursed for any of my expenses from Memphis, from the hospital, so hopefully they'll do that this week. There was apparently an issue with which supervisor my stuff got sent to. It got sent to the wrong supervisor, they said, so hopefully I will get reimbursed the $300 that I spent on food and Ubers while I was in Memphis. So we shall see.